So let's see together how to make the best out of the AI voices, because as we all know, they are sometimes what gives away the fact that a video is AI. And also, just from a dynamic perspective, something very robotic that can be just a little bit too boring to listen to. So we've got multiple ways to tackle this issue, and I'm going to show you everything in this video. So let's jump right ahead into the voices section. There are usually two use cases with voices. Either you're cloning your own, and therefore personal branding is maybe your use case, and you want people to think it's your voice. So the similarity with the dataset is very important. And the other thing is, well, I don't care if that's not my voice. I just want it to be an amazing voice that's maybe dynamic or just very calm, very quiet. And so this is just doable in two options. Either it's the real voice of someone else, and therefore you are tapping into a library of voices like Elevenlabs, or you might be using ours because we have some deals with actors and actresses. Or there is another option, which is prompting. And what you can do on Argil is either add connection here and copy paste your Elevenlabs key, or simply create voice right ahead here if you have a sample of your voice that you can just drag and drop. So this is how training voices work. Now, something that's very important is to understand the difference between Minimax and Elevenlabs, because those have two different settings and two different ways of touching those. So here, this is a list of voice that come from an Elevenlabs key, and therefore I can edit each and every one of these. So to me, if you don't care on how much determinism there is in the voice, like is there a variation in between videos that no user will notice, but like if you pay really attention, you will, then my advice is to go for Elevenlabs v3 and go for full creative. That will allow the voice to be amazing, but two generations of the same script will have different results. Otherwise, if you are aiming towards more similarity in the results, you can pick Elevenlabs multilingual v2 and increase the stability above 80. And if you care about the similarity with the dataset, then same thing here. You want to have similarity and clarity very high. My advice overall for the speed at which an avatar talks is usually 1.05 or 1.1. The exception to this is, of course, the dataset. Is it based on someone who talks very rapidly? Myself, I have created a voice for TikTok, and therefore I have my entire dataset of me talking really fast with a lot of energy, and therefore I don't need to improve that speed. But most of people I know, they tend to talk rather calmly in the dataset. So once you are happy with the settings of your voice on Elevenlabs, you can click on Save Changes. Now, when it comes to Minimax, you also need to click on Voice, but you will see you have a lot less options, and therefore you don't really need to touch anything. The language in which you're talking is automatically detected. Same goes for emotions most of the time. That's something you can touch, but I would stay on auto as well. One thing though that's quite important is to put this on 110, 105. And now one last thing I want to be covering is just, well, you have a voice and you just edited it and you just created it, but you already have your avatar ready. How do you make the connection between that voice and that avatar? And so that's fairly simple. You click here into edit, then into the style, the settings of your avatar, and you will link the right voice. Here I had Joanna already, but I can go for Laura and just click on Save Changes. And we'll probably add very soon a button that allows you to apply this voice to all the different styles of your avatar. That's done by default, but you might want to be changing those when you discover a new voice, or a better one at least. So that's it for the voices and the settings. Regarding the Pro Voice, there is a fairly small video on the documentation on how to create the Pro Voices, but it's basically going to be Elevenlabs again, clicking on plus here and following the orders, I would say, of the professional voice clone. So that's it for me. Thank you very much, guys. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us on Discord.